Hey, did you see how Trump showed his support for Argentina's Javier Milei yesterday? Now, this is just rhetorical support, but you can see the two men had some sort of a connection. And I don't know what Javier Milei has actually managed to get from the United States, but he certainly got the personal affection of Donald Trump. Trump has trouble remembering Mark Carney's name. Here's Trump on Milei.
I'm with this man because his philosophy is correct. We're going to work very much with the president. We think he's going to win. He should win. And if he does win, we're going to be very helpful. And if he doesn't win, we're not going to waste our time.
The president's party will, and the coalition will do well in the election. And this aid is predicated on robust policies. And going back to the failed Peronist policies would cause a U.S. rethink.
Now, I don't know, maybe that's going to backfire in Argentina. But I think that, obviously Javier Milei has been able to get Trump to work with him, to work to support him. I don't think that Mark Carney has done so. And it doesn't matter if their personalities clash. Your job as prime minister, especially in this age, is to find a way to make it work. And Mark Carney has been prime minister for more than 200 days, and he has not done so. And the thing is, that's his core promise. He was elected on stopping this whole thing from happening. He's had more than half a year, and he hasn't moved things forward an inch. He had a meeting with Trump, and nothing came from it. Now, I'm not happy that good jobs are moving from Canada to the United States. Of course I'm not. But it's also hard to understand why Canada, especially Mark Carney and other premiers, don't allow other good jobs to be created in Canada, especially in oil and gas. That is a huge global industry, $10 trillion a year market. And the thing about oil and gas production, you can't move it across the border. You can't move it to the U.S. like you can with the production of cars. The production of oil and gas has to happen where the oil and gas is, and it is in Canada, especially in Alberta. You can sell it to the U.S. You can pump it to the U.S. You can even sell raw material and they'll refine it down there, sure. But the primary jobs of exploration and production remain in Canada. But Mark Carney and the rest of the establishment, especially premiers in Quebec and BC, will not let that happen. So yes, it's worth crying over several thousand jobs in Ontario, absolutely. But what about 100,000 jobs in Alberta? Just a disaster. Now, I wanted to talk about that because it's a crisis for Ontario. But again, the feds have killed 10 times as many jobs and 10 times as much investment in Alberta's oil patch. I mean, any one pipeline, Northern Gateway, Energy East, Keystone XL, the new one proposed by Alberta, any single pipeline project out there, and I just named 4, are larger than the amount that Stellantis just pledged to the United States. You can do all 4 of those pipelines, just that. And by the way, you don't need government investment like you do for a fake electric vehicle battery plant. There are private companies ready to build them with their own money. Oh, and to pay tax on them. But we don't allow that in Canada. But you're supposed to grieve over the auto sector, just not for the oil and gas sector. Statistically speaking, can you save 90% of your grief for what Trudeau and Carney have done to Canada themselves? By the way, in case you're wondering, the value of Canada's oil and gas exports to the United States is about triple the value of our car trade with them. All right, I want to talk about a second thing, if I may. A completely different subject, just because I've been away a bit. And this has been driving me crazy. I don't know if you know this, but despite, or actually because of the peace deal that Israel signed, there are hundreds of Palestinians being killed in Gaza. I don't know if you've seen this, but the murders are being done by Hamas against other Palestinians. So nobody cares. Certainly not the media, certainly not Palestine activists. Donald Trump calls himself the president of peace, and frankly, who can deny it? I mean, 7 wars he has helped negotiate the end of. The most complex one, I think, is Israel-Gaza. I mean, how do you put together Pakistan and Turkey and Saudi Arabia and Egypt and Hamas, Qatar, and Israel? Now, I say Hamas, Qatar because with Qatar on board, Hamas sort of has to be on board because Qatar is sort of like their surety, their guarantor. If they don't do it, Trump's going to lean on Qatar, it looks like. Trump was victorious, both in Israel, when the hostages came in, when they were released finally, and in Egypt, where the Muslim and Arab countries came together. Oh, and a few white, non-Muslim, non-Arab leaders too. Keir Starmer from the United Kingdom, Emmanuel Macron from France, Mark Carney from Canada. They had nothing to do with the peace deal. Like I say, all of them gave an enormous diplomatic win to Hamas with nothing in return, no consequences, no compromise, no conditions. They say, we recognize you as a country. What? Before they had done anything, before they had given the hostages back, they actually rewarded their terrorist behavior. But Trump had them there. Oh, and they lied about their important role. They all endorsed Palestine as sovereign under Hamas without any movement from there. And now they're trying to take credit for Trump's move that they undermined. Here's a British cabinet minister just full on lying about it.
We have played a key role behind the scenes in shaping this. It's right that we do so because it's in all of our interest, including our own national interest, that we move to a lasting peace in the region.
Well, when you say behind the scenes, like what? I mean, it seems to everybody else in the world that this has been done by Trump and the Israelis and Hamas. What part did we play?
These are complex matters of diplomacy that we are involved in, but we do welcome and recognise the critical role that the American government played in moving us to this point. What matters now, of course, is how we move beyond this immediate end to the war, moving towards that lasting peace that we all want to see. And that is why we've recognised a Palestinian state, but why alongside that, we're committed to making sure that a safe and secure Israel endures.
The reason I ask this is because, as you say, we recognise a Palestinian state. Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, said that actually made it more difficult to land the deal. What's really going on here? I mean, was that some sort of clever strategic double bluff? I mean, the Americans say we made it more difficult. You're saying that we played this key part. What's true?
Well, we believed as a government that it was the right thing to do to recognise the Palestinian state because of the way in which the conflict had developed over the last 2 years, that if that hadn't happened, we would be in a position where there would no longer be that viable option of a Palestinian
state. But the
state.
Israelis were furious with us. The Americans said that we actually hampered the deal. What was the positive role that we played? It
was the right thing to do, and we will always act as a government in that manner. I do obviously understand that not everyone agrees with that decision, but given the scale of the conflict and what needed to happen, we felt it was the right thing to do to recognise that Palestinian state.
Yeah, the U.S. ambassador to Israel couldn't help himself. Here he is tweeting that she's just, quote, delusional. I think my favorite moment, I know I follow the UK a little bit much, but here's Trump introducing and then unintroducing Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, on the stage. Starmer thought he was going to be asked to talk. And Trump looked at them and sort of said, yeah, no. Take a look at this little interaction.
United Kingdom. Where's the United Kingdom? Where's my friend? Come here. Is everything going good? Very good. That's very nice of you here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice. And I think it's fantastic. And we have so many others, and just so many others. And
yeah, he flew all the way there for that. I don't even think he mentioned Mark Carney. But why are Macron, Carney, and Starmer there? Like, why would Trump have them there? They were of no use or ornament to get the deal done. I think put on your Trump hat, put on your Art of the Deal hat, and maybe it becomes clearer. Trump wants to rebuild Gaza. He wants to demilitarize Gaza. He wants to, if possible, turn it into a sort of Dubai. I'm very skeptical that it can be done. But it's going to need hundreds of billions of dollars. And it's going to need some sort of boots on the ground to demilitarize and police the place. Well, that's why Macron and Starmer and Carney were invited. Because to get back with the cool kids, to make it up to Trump for trying to scupper his deal, don't you think Trump is going to demand from Macron, from Starmer, and from Carney tens of billions of dollars, maybe $100 billion, and maybe soldiers on the ground? And do you doubt that these leaders are going to provide it? I think in the end, there will be no U.S. troops in Gaza and no U.S. money. I think Trump, to allow these people to hang out with him, is going to say, you have to pay for it. Hey, Saudi Arabia. Hey, Qatar. Hey, United Arab Emirates. Hey, France, Canada, and UK. We need you guys to put together $500 billion to rebuild the rubble here. That's Trump the deal maker, don't you think? Anyways, I want to let you know that my friend Tommy Robinson is in Israel because, of course, his verdict in the Terrorism Act trial won't be till November 4th. Here's a clip of Avi the other day before Tommy arrived when the hostages were coming home.
Avi Amini for Rebel News at Hostage Square in Tel Aviv for thetruthaboutthewar.com. We're here, I guess, to circle back and round off our reporting that started in October 2023 for thetruthaboutthewar.com, where myself and Benji flew here just to cover what was happening, to tell the other side of the story. And we're back here now in Israel to end the story. And it ends here at Hostage Square. Trump has just declared the war is over.
Today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity.
And the hostages are being released as we speak. We're here to find out how Israelis are feeling. How are you feeling?
I can't even describe in words. We are so excited. We have the first 7. We're waiting for the next, they're 13 or 15, hopefully 15. And it's amazing. It's finally here.
Amazing. Ecstatic. Feeling great. Bring back the hostages. Thank you, Trump.
There you go. I think that kind of sums up how Israelis are feeling.
I'm happy.
Did you believe this was going to happen?
Yes.
You knew the whole time they were coming home?
Yes.
Wow, great, wonderful.
Did you believe? Did you believe this day is going to come?
Yes, of course.
You believed it was happening?
100%, yes.
I can't explain it. It's the most incredible joy. We've been waiting for this day for so long. And I was sitting in my home in a suburb of Tel Aviv, about an hour from here, and I just couldn't be there. I just came here.
Yeah, you came as soon as you saw that it's happening
I was
now.
watching it at home from my television screen. I'm like, how can I be there? I need to be here. So here I am.
Your T-shirt.
How you doing?
We're loving your T-shirt. Why are you wearing that today here?
Why am I wearing this? For the best president ever?
Show us the keeper. Show you. Hold on, we need to get it. Do you think that today, the fact we've already got 7 hostages out now, that Trump has not only made America great again, it sounds like he's making Israel great again?
He's making the world great again. He's a king of peace. King of peace.
Well, that's come and gone, and I'll have some more video about the new things we're recording, namely Tommy Robinson's visit, and Avi was there to greet him. I think there's a prospect for peace. I think that Iran and its proxies are dashed. 2 years ago, you had Iran itself that was armed to the teeth. They were colonizing Syria with Bashar Assad. Lebanon's Hezbollah was really running the country, not the Lebanese government. And of course, you had Hamas in Gaza. Israel really was surrounded by a military machine that Iran had spent 40 years building. But things have turned around so quickly, even that Indonesia comment. Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world, in case you didn't know. You take a look at what their leader said the other day.
We must also recognize, we must also respect, and we must also guarantee the safety and security of Israel. Only then we can have real peace. Real peace. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom.
Things are turning around, isn't it? All those countries that surrounded it have basically been destroyed or cut down to size. I mean, Iran itself, the bulk of their ballistic missile and nuclear program was wiped out with American help. Hezbollah was totally decapitated, their leadership destroyed, including with exploding pagers. The colonization of Syria is over. Bashar Assad is now in exile in Moscow. They say he's playing video games by the day. And Hamas is in full retreat now in Gaza. Israel has knocked its threat down to size. And Israel is interested in peace. I believe within months you will see the second phase of the Abraham Accords. I expect Saudi Arabia itself will join. And wouldn't it be something if Indonesia was in there? But here's my point. The first phase of the peace deal for Trump was getting the hostages back and Israel releasing hundreds of terrorists in return. But Hamas is already breaking their deal by not returning all the dead hostages' body, but mainly they're taking advantage of Israel's withdrawal. I don't know if you saw the plan. Step one is for the hostages to be returned to Israel, dead or alive. Step two, Israel pulls back to certain lines. But that has taken the pressure off of Hamas, which has flooded into the zone, and they have begun to massacre their rivals. You can imagine for the past 2 years, a lot of people have been grumbling. Who decided to invade and slaughter Israel on October 7, 2023? And look what they have brought to Gaza, and who hides beneath schools and hospitals. Don't think that there wasn't rage and anger against Hamas. And some people had the courage to speak out over the last 2 years. Well, now it's reckoning time, and Hamas is massacring entire clans, entire family names are being killed by Hamas. And these are Muslim Arabs, by the way. Hamas is calling them collaborators. Yeah, no, not everyone's a collaborator. That's just what you call people in Gaza before you kill them. So there have been an enormous number of brutal murders. And I mean murders, not battles, not war, but outright murder on the streets committed by Hamas, but complete silence from the West. Just brutal executions in the streets. No one seems to care. Now, why don't they care? Don't they care about Gazans? I don't actually think so. I'm not sure if they ever did. Now, was it really a genocide? I don't think so. The population of Gaza has actually gone up. Israel could have flattened the whole place instead of being more careful about how they went building by building. The first genocide, that the alleged victims of the genocide could have stopped any time simply by handing over the hostages. Was it a famine? I don't think so. I think the images show a lot of very well-fed people. So all these things, suddenly the world doesn't care anymore. But why not? Because no one is stopped by this deal, not Hamas, not Hamas supporters. They still hate Israel. That's what it was always about. It wasn't about stopping the war in Gaza. That was just a swamp that Israel got stuck in. But they absolutely continue to hate Israel full force. In fact, the biggest rally ever in London, other than the rally against Tony Blair 30 years ago, the biggest rally in London for Palestine or Hamas was this weekend after the deal. There's been not a moment's break in pro-Hamas activity anywhere in the West. I don't actually think it's about Gaza. I think it's only about getting the Jews. And when they were trapped in Gaza, the Israeli Defense Forces, that was a great way to get at Israel and the Jews. But now that they're no longer in there, and now that there's peace in the region, or hopefully there is, that hasn't stopped the anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic, anti-Israel attacks. Here's a young man in Oxford after the peace deal. That is the key point here. Listen to him.
Upright, a steadfast and a noble resistance in Palestine and in Gaza to look to be inspired by. And I don't want to yap for too long, but a chant that we've been workshopping in Oxford that maybe you guys want to join in. It goes, Gaza, Gaza, make us proud, put the Zios in the ground. Gaza, Gaza, make us proud, put the Zios in the ground. Gaza, Gaza, make us proud, put the Zios in the ground. Gaza, Gaza, make us proud, put the Zios in the ground. Gaza, Gaza, make us proud, put the Zios in the ground. Thank you.
What an absolute nutter. I can't believe that kind of person is in Oxford University. What a disgrace. I understand he's been suspended. I mean, he's basically calling for murder. I mean, he's basically calling for the stabbing attack that happened in Manchester a week ago where 2 Jews were killed. I've always said the problem is far worse here in Canada than in Israel, because at least in Israel, they know what the problem is. Here in Canada, we turn a blind eye to it. I mean, for starters, why are we still taking Gaza refugees in Canada? Why haven't we sent the Syrian refugees home now that there's peace there? I think Tommy Robinson is actually morally clear on these things, certainly clearer than Mark Carney or Keir Starmer. Here's some footage from his trip with Avi.
Tommy Robinson has just landed in Israel on an official invitation from Israel's Minister of Diaspora Affairs, Amichai Shikli. A major moment for free speech and truth-telling on the world stage. We'll be following him all along the way for TommyInIsrael.com.
Avi, good to see you, bro.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
How are you feeling?
I'm happy to be here, mate. I'm honoured to be here.
What are you hoping from this trip?
I'm hoping to show solidarity with real strong leadership. I wish our country had a leader like Netanyahu. We have weak cowards. Our government have recognised a terrorist state, and that government are not elected on a mandate. They are elected with 20% of the public vote. So I don't want people in Israel to think that the other 80% of people, not even the majority of Labour support them, support recognising a terrorist state. So I'm here to show solidarity with the Jewish people and the Israeli people for a strong and hopefully form good friendships and understand, because Israel is surrounded by jihad. Britain is going to be surrounded by jihad. Yeah? The problems that Israel faces here are the same problems that we're going to face. So the security issues that Israel has and Jews have in the state of Israel, we're all going to face in Europe. It's coming to the whole of Europe because we have allowed and empowered Islamic extremism. We have leaders who have got on their knees to them and appeased them, and they still think they can appease them. Obviously, Israel understands now they can't appease them. I remember a time when Jews were dragged out of Gaza. Jews were dragged out of Gaza as part of a peace deal that would somehow give peace, which everyone knows it doesn't bring peace. So, yeah, I'm here as a friend of Israel. Look, I'm happy to be here, and I'm privileged to be here as well.